Hey everybody, in today's video, we're going to talk about the ever-changing silver market. It wasn't that many months ago, we were looking at $40 silver. Now as I film this, we're pushing near $100 per ounce. I'm going to talk about what that has done with traffic in the shop, what that's done with traffic online. Has that spurred on more sellers, more buyers? Well, I think you're going to be surprised when I discuss that. And I'm also going to take some time to discuss how I see this all playing out. It's a kind of an interesting ride. We're in unprecedented times right now in terms of spot price, and the public is reacting in ways that somewhat we could have predicted, but in other ways we're kind of unpredictable, and I'll discuss what I mean in the video coming up. All the while, I'm going to show off cool new things that we picked up in the shop here. We got 3 trays of some cool stuff that's come across the counter this past week. It's just a tiny, tiny sample because we've been buying more than ever. So I'm going to talk about what we are doing to survive in this market. Because let's be honest, with the prices going up as fast as they are, not all coin shops are going to survive. And I'll discuss that as well. So interesting times for sure. Be sure to stick around. Hey everybody, thanks for sticking with me. What a wild ride gold and silver especially have been on in the last 15 months. I don't think anybody saw this coming, let's be honest, but boy, what a fun ride it's been. I'm going to talk about the action that we've seen here at Minot Coin Bullion on a local level. It's incredible the amount of business we are doing in both buying and selling with these high prices, and I'll dive into that here first. You know, one would think as prices crossed over $50 an ounce, and I talked about this a bit in my videos, it would be a psychological barrier in a sense for some people not wanting to necessarily buy silver. Frankly, we saw some of that. Sales started to dip kind of noticeably once we hit over $50 an ounce, and we saw an uptick in the amount of people wanting to sell. Not surprising, because at $50 an ounce, that's an all-time nominal high. And unless you paid insane premiums when you picked up your silver, you were going to turn a profit on it. So we went through that. Not long after it hit 50, it hit 60, it quickly hit 70, 80, now we're 90, over $94 as I film this, in fact, $94.17. It's Martin Luther King Jr. Day, Monday, the January 19th, 2026. It's a little after 5 o'clock Central Time, so the market is back open overseas right now. Boy, what a wild, wild time. 2 weeks ago, we had our largest purchasing day ever from the public in our shop at Minot Coin Bullion. We bought across the counter from face-to-face customers in our shop $500,000 worth of precious metal, most of it silver, in one day. That's more than we typically buy from the public in an entire month. And it happened all in one day. And none of it was prearranged. People just kept flooding, coming in, selling their stuff. Part of the reason was I was closed for about 2.5 weeks through Christmas and New Year's. So I didn't make myself real available. But and I do that every year just to take some time away with my family and help out more at home for the holidays. But boy, what a wild and crazy day. So you're probably asking, well, what does a shop do with all that inventory? I'll tell you, that's more inventory than we like to carry. So I immediately got to find a home for this stuff, right? So who's buying? Well, fortunately at the time, my wholesaler was buying pretty aggressively still, so I was able to move quite a bit of it to him to free up some capital, because in this market, capital comes at a cost, believe me, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But he helped me out and was able to take some things off my hands, and I turned a small profit shipping it off to him so I could kind of reload the bank account to buy more the next day. It's been more of the same. Every single day we're buying loads and loads of precious metal, mostly silver, from the public. How are we going to survive? You know, at some point we don't have unlimited cash. I don't know any shops that do, but I will tell you, in terms of capital, we're a relatively small shop. We do a fair amount of business, and we take great pride in working hard to earn people's trust and do a lot of business, both at the local level and now online as well. But we're quite small in terms of, you know, I would say annual sales and how much cash we keep available to make purchases. And to have $500,000 come in one day, put in an immediate strain on finances for us. As I said, fortunately, we were able to move some of that product quickly and find it a home quickly. We haven't had a day quite like that since, but we've had some that are close. So continually buying from the public. Well, at some point, and I commented on this probably 2 years ago in a Silver Seeker video, we were hypothetically talking about, what if silver hits $100 an ounce and everybody's selling? I remember making this statement, and I think it kind of shocked him, but it's true. I'm going to say, well, you know what? At some point, shops are going to run out of cash, and they're just going to have to lock their doors. So I'm fighting really hard, along with many, many others in the industry, to try to keep a delicate balance between what we're buying and what we're selling. Now, I haven't turned anybody away yet that has wanted to sell products to me. I want to take care, especially my customers that have supported me in this business, that have bought from me over the years. If they're in a position where they want to sell and take a profit, I want to be able to be there for them. So I got to be very careful, not to price myself out and not have any cash when they want to sell. So I've been working real hard, putting sales on. I don't know if you caught it, but this last week, the end of the week, we had a 3 for $3 under sale. I never did a video on it because I was too busy, but I did Facebook posts, sent out an email to my email subscribers, and I also did a YouTube post, I guess, as well. But we had 3 different products for $3 under spot per ounce. It was 90% silver mix, $10 face bags for $3 under spot per ounce. We had, let's see what else. We had secondary 10-ounce mystery lots for $3 under spot per ounce. And we had Morgan and Peace silver dollars for $3 under spot per ounce. That enabled us to free up some capital to be able to buy more from the public. And like I said, it hasn't slowed down. We're buying more than ever. And it's not just me. It's shops all across the country. Now, I watch a lot of YouTube, not as much as I'd like to, because frankly, I don't have a lot of free time. But I've seen videos with dealers that are in similar situations to mine, where the inflow of precious metal into their shop far exceeds the amount flowing out. So at some point, you're going to run out of cash, right? So what do? Well, you got to get creative. You got to work hard and find ways to free up capital. For me, it's to do these sales. I'm fortunate to have a following on YouTube and a pretty good online clientele that's prepared to buy in most circumstances. When I put out a good deal, they jump on it. So thank you to anybody who took advantage of that deal. In fact, we still have some of that 90% silver left, and we have Peace and Morgan dollars left still. $3 back of spot on both of those. So where does that put us? Well, we got the unfortunate news this past week, and more refineries are following suit, that they're basically shutting the door on us wholesalers and dealers to ship our excess product. And what I mean by that is they're no longer buying alloyed silver. One of the largest in the country came out with a letter late last week saying, sorry guys, we're not buying your 90% silver anymore. We're not going to buy your sterling silverware or jewelry. We're not going to buy 40% Kennedy halves or 80% Canadian silver or 35% war nickels. All this type of silver that we see as coin shops coming in usually are out in order to get some cash is to send it to the refinery. Well, they close that door on us. So they are not buying it. So what does that mean? Well, it's good news for the public who wants to buy that kind of stuff, because I think now, because coin shops really don't have an out and a way to get rid of it except for retail, there's going to be some great deals. Now, I don't have a huge excess of anything except 90% right now. And if you're watching this, boy, by the time this video comes out, I maybe even made the sale even better and discounted it even more to move some of it, because we have so much 90% silver on hand right now. And I think 90% silver is a great thing anybody should own. So I guess be on the lookout for that. You can check it out on the website. So, but yeah, the fact that they're not buying non-999 silver anymore has really impacted a lot of dealers. And in fact, the buyback prices from wholesalers is really poor right now. I shouldn't say wholesalers. I should say the refineries. Refineries, one of the largest in the country, came out with their sheet earlier this past week. They're paying $15 under spot for 999 silver. So let's just say somebody comes in and sells me 5,000 ounces of silver. Well, I don't want to carry all that because I'm not selling it very quickly and I need to get some cash back so I can buy more stuff, basically to help out the public that wants to sell, what do? Well, I'm not going to send it to them and take $15 under spot unless I can buy it at $20 under spot, but I'm not going to insult people and offer them $20 under spot. So we're not there yet, but just be aware that we're going to be seeing changes in this market where, you know, even though we're at almost 94, now close to $95 silver as we're talking here, spot price in the US, what is the real value of your silver at that point? Well, it's what somebody's willing to pay. And most dealers across the country are paying well back of spot. I've heard some that are paying $20 back of spot. I've heard some that are paying 20% back of spot, which is almost $20. That's almost $19 now. So I'm kind of playing it case by case. I've had to adjust what I'm paying the public several times. And as of right now, I'm not proud to say this, but this is the reality. We're paying $10 back of spot for 999 silver because we don't need it. We don't need it right now. And if there's people that truly need to sell, I encourage you to shop around. The advantage of selling it to a local shop typically is you're going to get same day payment. You could sure sell it to APMEX or JM Bullion or one of the big online places, but you're going to wait 3 weeks to get paid. So how quickly do you need the money, I guess, is the question. But we're in very difficult times right now. And like I said, I still want to be here in a position where I can help people out who truly need to sell their precious metal, especially at the local level here. But we have to protect ourselves so we can keep the doors open, because not all shops in the country are going to survive what's going on right now. They're going to have to, at some point, stop buying. We haven't had to do that yet. We just have to be careful what we're paying when we're buying, because we don't have easy outs anymore for our silver. As I said, if I were to ship it to a refinery, once I pay for shipping and insurance, they're going to pay me $15 under spot and take a few weeks to pay me. So nobody wants that. So the name of the game now is we're trying to turn metal over quickly. So, and I think a lot of shops across the country are as well. We're going to continue to have sales on certain items. And this is all typically for, you know, stuff that comes across the counter, like this stuff here. I got one more tray here I'll show in a second. I thought this was interesting because I don't get this very often in the shop, but I got some palladium bars. So I have palladium on hand right now. That's something that I rarely have in stock. So I thought that was kind of cool, along with this 4-coin Australian silver set there. But it's just, I don't know. It's so difficult to day to day to know what's fair to pay the public. And you know, I said earlier, having live capital, meaning me having cash ready to buy from the public or order material that I need for a customer, it comes at a cost. And right now in my shop, that cost is $10 back of spot. So if you want live capital and you want to sell your metal in the shop, just know what you're getting into now. By the time this video comes out, come tomorrow, the next day, these numbers can change. As I said, I had a total of 4 different rates I was paying last week, just depending on the day, depending on what the wholesalers and refineries were paying. It's just wild times right now. Interesting thing to note. In China right now, silver is priced about $12 higher on their exchanges when converted to the US dollar than it is in the US. So they're already valuing it the physical metal, $12 higher than our spot prices show. There's still funny business going on in our markets here, where banks that are selling these contracts, these futures contracts for metal, are changing margin requirements, meaning those who hold these paper contracts are either forced to come up with cash to maintain their position, or they're forced to sell the contract. A lot of them are forced to sell. That temporarily beats down the price a few dollars per ounce, but it claws its way back and keeps going even higher. And I think part of the reason is where the Chinese market is right now. And it's not just China either. In the Middle East, places like Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, spot prices are much higher in US dollar than we show here in the US. So there again, weird stuff going on. There's shops that are buying so much, and there's so little retail demand right now, even though there are buyers, don't get me wrong. And the buying honestly hasn't really slowed down from a numbers perspective or an ounces perspective. My sales are still strong. It's just that I'm buying so much from the public on their demand. We are overwhelmed with inventory right now. So it's a difficult balance. On one hand, you have, I'm telling you, silver's probably really worth more than it is based on what's going on out east of us in China and the Middle East. But at home here, the true value, the real price of silver is what can you sell it for? So if you're in the market to sell metal right now, I encourage you to shop around. And maybe you're one of the lucky ones where you have a shop in your community that needs your silver because they are selling so much and not getting enough in. They're more apt to want to pay a little more aggressively. So I tell you, there's different instances and different things going on in different parts of the country. So this isn't a one-size-fits-all type report, but it's just something to be aware of. And I know I'm kind of blabbing everybody. I never have a script, but I wanted to talk about that because I think it's extremely important people understand where I'm at in terms of buying back from the public, because at the end of the day, I want to be fair, but also I want to keep the lights on. I want to keep my doors open. I want to continue to be a coin shop and be able to serve the public. Not all shops are going to survive what's going on right now. I can guarantee that. It's just really, really difficult. So at some point, they're going to have to turn people away and lock their door because they're out of cash. And I don't know. And I believe, this is my belief only, it's not financial advice or expert opinion by any means, but I believe we're just starting to see the start. Timeline-wise, who knows, but silver's not done yet, not even close. I think we're finally maybe at or maybe exceeded a little bit where I feel it should be at this point in relation to gold, but I think over time it's going to continue to catch up with gold. That's just my thought. So what will that mean? It'll mean the gold to silver ratio will continue to shrink. We've seen it shrink within a year from over 100 to under 50. So wild, wild times. But let's showcase this. Now, this monstrosity actually came to me by way of a customer who purchased it from a friend of mine in the shop here. It was kind of a consignment piece, if I remember right. But this is a 10 ounce. This is a beautiful coin. United States of America, double eagle. In God we trust. It's got the St. Gaudens design from the old $20 gold piece. It's the St. Gaudens NPF commemorative 1933 double eagle ultra high relief 10 ounce private issue reverse proof 70. This is a 10 ounce silver coin. Look how thick that slab is. Here's the normal slab for comparison. You see that? This is a monster, but this is a beautiful, beautiful coin that just came back into the shop this last week, so we're excited to have that again. This was cool too. I've had this a couple weeks, but just dug it out of the safe. This is a no-date blank planchet. It weighs 27.5 grams. This is for a US 90% silver commemorative dollar coin, but this is certified to be a blank planchet that somehow got out into the wild and got certified. So that's kind of cool. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about copper, but we have some big chunky copper bars on hand. I get a lot of requests for copper. So if you watch my videos, you're learning about it first. I can't call everybody whenever I get copper in. I got probably half a dozen people. If you get in copper bars, call me. Well, I got some in. Here's two, and I have a third one. They're all a little over 30 ounces each. These are hand poured with copper, using copper fittings and copper wiring. A local person poured these. Cool bars, kind of crude looking, but copper, and they're stamped. Got some casino tokens. You know, it's funny. It's not really funny, but it's eye-opening. These casino tokens, typically the outer ring is brass. You notice how they say 999 silver? This inner portion is typically, not always, but typically 0.6 ounces of pure silver. 0.6 ounces of pure silver at current prices, over $55 worth of silver right there. I remember not long ago buying these for like 18 bucks and selling them for 20. Now there's $55 worth of silver in each one. It's just, wow, it's just hard to wrap our heads around. But I love Mexican Libertads, but I kind of lost interest when they decided they weren't going to mint very many this last year, and prices went through the roof. 1 ounce pieces were selling for $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 each because of the low mintage. So I don't like it when mints do that. If you're going to do that, why don't you just skip a year instead of making one uber rare? Because those who are trying to put together year sets, who wants to spend that much for an ounce of silver? So, but this is a 5 ounce from 2023. But so anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a quick briefing and update. I don't get a lot of free time because we're extremely busy. I happen to be closed today, and I had a little bit of time in between packing orders and organizing all of the product that we've bought over this past week and trying to get it ready for retail sale this next week. But I just wanted to let you know how we are doing and what we are doing in order to survive in this turbulent market. And I know not everybody's going to agree with it, but you don't have to. At the bottom line, at the end of the day, we need to be able to continue to open our doors and operate our business, and we're going to do everything we can to do that while at the same time be here and be as fair as we can to our customers. So I tell you, it's a delicate balance, but if you've watched this far into the video, I appreciate it so much. You're probably a customer or a friend or a family member, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you all. But we're navigating uncharted waters right now in the precious metals market, and we kind of just take each day, one day at a time, try to figure out how to best navigate. And boy, as I said, everything I told you in terms of numbers very well could be different by the time you're watching this video. So here's my advice for this type of market. Oh, I should tell you this. I was at a gun show in Bismarck, North Dakota this past Saturday. I traveled to Bismarck to deliver a customer order and do some shopping, and I stopped at the gun show to say hi to a couple of my coin dealer friends who were out there. I actually picked something up. I bought a 5 ounce Disney-themed, Walt Disney-themed silver round. I paid $90 an ounce, which was spot at the time. That's the most I've ever paid per ounce for a piece in my private collection, but I happily did it. So I'm still buying at these numbers too. So if you're a stacker, new or old, you got to make the decision that's right for you. Is current market too high to stack? Maybe, but you might regret it when we're at 125 6 months from now, possibly, right? Or it could be 60. Nobody knows. All I know is enjoy it. It's fun and wild times. Every day when I wake up, the first thing I do is look at the spot prices and see where we're at. And that's usually a good indicator of how the day is going to be. If the prices are down quite a bit, it's going to be a heavy sales day. If they're up at all, there's going to be a lot of people in selling. And I think we can expect more of the same this week. And like I said, we're going to do everything we can to be as fair as we can with everybody so we can continue this wild ride and enjoy it with the rest of you. Everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you learned something today. Maybe you saw something cool on the tray. I just like to have some eye candy down here, so you have something to look at, right? You don't have to watch the screen, but it gives you something to look at, I guess. So, but thank you all so much for tuning in. Your support means everything to me. I love doing YouTube as much as I can. I wish I had more time for it, but we took some time today. So I hope you learned some things, and feel free to drop a comment down below where you're watching from, and I appreciate it. Thanks everybody so much. Until next time, take care. Have a great day.